There was this loud scream, and then suddenly more screams happened, and I was like, there's either a cockroach on the in the booth or on the stands, or and then we looked over, and you and I both knew Guma was in, and I think it's been something people have been waiting for a long time, and this is the right timing to sub him in.
It is, but is it the right lane?
Well, there has been some discussion about Guma playing top, but. You know, if you haven't been living under a rock, you know, I don't think we need to do the previously on the LCK and show like a shot of Chovy killing Gumayusi in the most watched regular season game of all time. You know, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of tension, and I think Smash, you know, knowing he has to earn his spot, perhaps playing with a little bit of extra pressure, the most pressure anyone could have right now. But Guma looks like he is ready to play. So we move into this Game 3 draft. We'll once again see BNK target this Rumble pick. They'll take the Vi away on red side. See what that final pick is. A little bit easier on red side to draft when so many prio picks have already been played. No Gwen, no Jace, no Skarner.
Yeah, the top lane pull certainly being pinched just a little, as only the Rumble and Ambessa really standing out. So we're going to have a little bit more of an honest battle up there towards the top side. First pick Sion, baby. That's what's happening. It's got to be. Doran needs to be put in Sion prison, and that needs to happen right now, and he has to do it to himself.
It's a tricky situation here for first pick, actually. I wonder if Faker will just play Victor. Yeah, it's the safest pick. It shows nothing. It's got great scaling. It's a strong pick in this meta. It's great in lane. Obviously, Faker, a ton of experience and success on this pick. And Nara's kind of in the same vein, you know?
Oh, I actually like this. Nara has a decent matchup into the Sion, and you pick it away from Doran at the same time. They're gonna pick away the Sion instead. I think Doran's gonna be very happy to play Nara into it as Raptor on a very aggressive pick here in the Viego.
Yeah, I don't know if you have to deny Doran's Sion. Like I liked it in the draft when there was a lot of other picks that Sion is good into, but now that they're gone, I'm not as much on board with this, especially with the blind Viego. Now, the Ahri pick here looks quite nice, potentially here for BNK, but doesn't necessarily fit the MO for what Sion is going to set up for you in team fights.
I don't feel like you have that much damage. Oh, God. Okay,
we're trusting him with the Yorick.
We ain't maidenless today, as Yorick Mori will not be forgotten and will instead be put into the top lane in the hands of Doran, and we'll see how it goes. It is into a Sion, and this is like a split push demon. And Sion doesn't necessarily cope that well with that.
Yeah, that's true. We saw what Italy did to Sion as well very recently.
Oh, no, we agreed. We weren't going to mention that.
I was going to say, remember when Morgan played the Yorick? And I was like, no, nobody remembered because he didn't do anything. It didn't matter. But, okay, Lee Sin picked here for Oner.
That's Oner's Lee Sin.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic. We don't know what he's playing into just yet, as, you know, this draft gets a little bit more interesting from here. The Ahri seems like the obvious pick, still in a great spot right now. Two very viable builds with the Malignance build and the Rod of Ages build both being viable. Faker popularizing the Malignance build. We've seen it come up a little bit more. I love the Caitlyn ban. Guma subbed in. You know, I mean, it's his most iconic pick. It gives you a ton of prio. The pool is thinned out so massively down there in the bottom lane. But I do think that BNK are going to need some consistent damage here. I would love a Draven ban, to be honest, from T1, because you've got the Sion to set it up. It works well with the Viego and the Ahri for getting that cash in, getting the Viego resets. And it's also strong in lane.
I'm kind of into the Draven angle. Doesn't necessarily strike me as a Diablo champion, but still, I think I can see it.
Yeah.
Unless BNK just ban that one away themselves, and or they ban Xayah and they go for a Kai'Sa angle, although the Kai'Sa's been banned, so never mind, I'm going to take that one back.
To be fair, there is no Renata either, and Draven does need a strong laning partner to do what he wants to do, so maybe they will shy away from it.
This is very smart.
That's incredibly smart. Works really well with Lee Sin. Also works well with Yorick, to be honest. So, see what this final ban will end up being here. Could be the Draven ban just for safety, but again, without the Renata, a little bit tougher to pilot. Like we've seen Draven Nami in the past, but I don't know if we're really living in that world right now.
No. What is the ban going to be here from T1?
It's a tricky one. It will be just Nautilus, which is very safe. And this is the million-dollar question, is what are we playing here? Like, Zeri fits the bill for this comp. Doesn't necessarily work well with the Ahri, but great for cleanup. You've got a really strong front line. That's going to keep it a mystery and get that Prio Alistair pick for Kellen. It's a very polarizing pick for this player across his career. Ups and downs.
It's also really dangerous, right? Because you can either give a hyper carry a free lane, or you can run into double ranged and get murdered.
Yeah, like Lulu Jinx.
Yeah, Jinx Lulu would be one of those options there, Wolf. Let's see what T1 decide to do. Oh, there's the Jinx.
It also weakens a potential pick of the Zeri, because a Lulu is taken now. You know, Zeri is weaker when it's just sitting with an Alistar. When you're laning into this, it's going to be a little bit tougher to play. The Draven doesn't work well with the Alistar here either, so we might end up with a really weird pick here for Diablo, like Aphelios or something. You know, like I'm not sure what angle he's looking for, but Guma's return game will be on the Jinx, one he's played very well in the past. It's all eyes on Diablo now.
Yeah.
With the return of the King. And what's he going to be playing into him?
Joker is talking a lot, and it is just going to be the snap lock-in of the Zeri.
I like it for their comp. It's just going to be a little bit tricky to pilot in this game, but it's strong into Yorick. You know, Yorick never going to put Zeri in a donut. Pretty strong into the Lee Sin as well. And when you have the front line of Clear's Scion plus whatever Raptor transforms into when Vikla gets a charm, for example, the fights can look very clean. Also, the early skirmishing power of this Alistar, the ability of a Scion to rotate into team fights with his ultimate also feels very good. Victor fairly immobile, and you only have one wild growth. I think of all three drafts, I feel like this one feels the most even to me, to be honest with you, Atlas. I give a slight edge to T1, though.
I think if I was looking at this without the nameplates, I'd probably say that I'm feeling all right for BNK. But then when you put the nameplates on, and it's Gumayusi playing Jinx, and he's pretty good at that champion, as we've learned from years and years of play and him winning on the champ, I think that him having a range advantage on the bottom side with double range is probably too much for BNK to deal with. And I think you're right. T1 have themselves a pretty good position coming out of draft.
The implications of this game are massive. It could be BNK moving up massively in the standings, getting an upset win here. It could mean a ton for whether we see Guma or Smash in the future. T1 do not want to lose this game. Would be a massive upset for them after what's already been a tough schedule.
I would agree, but this is a decent draft come out from BNK. They have a chance. Let's see whether they can make it work as we get onto the Rift for game number 3.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The first time that we are seeing some red shorts on BNK. They were on blue side both times in a row prior to this. You can see Diablo and Gumayusi facing down, even though they can't see one another. They are still doing it as the 5-point defense system coming in. This time, Vikla's already taken a little bit of damage as Faker on his Victor. In game number 1, it was his Azir, definitely his most played champion by a larger margin than a lot of players' careers. And Vikla now going to be trying to take him on with his own skin, as the Ahri has been elected for. And I think Vikla, like the last time we saw him play Ahri, it wasn't exactly awe-inspiring.
No.
So I'm hoping it's a little bit better because Raptor needs him in this game.
Yeah, I mentioned this last time he played it, or last time I was casting him playing it. It's a pick I associate with him when he was sharing time with Arya on KT, and that was when the Ahri rework came through, and he played it quite a bit back then. But yeah, we'll see what his performance is going to look like here. There was a chance that we could have seen some Scion level 1 shenanigans in this game as well to try to get this area ahead, but that won't be the case, because I thought perhaps they're like, oh man, level 1 for this Alistar is going to be unplayable. Maybe Scion comes down, there's a little bit of shenanigans, he TP's top, but
that'd be cute.
They didn't do it, even though it has been a T1 special in the past. It's not going to be BNK doing it to them this time around.
And this bottom lane, yes, it is as bad as it looks, ladies and gentlemen. It is never a fun time to be an Alistar lane into any other champions, to be honest. But this especially when you get so severely outranged by the bazooka of the Jinx. So Kellen...
And then the other champion the Jinx is with also
yeah, the good old Lulu situation's problematic also.
The Alistar doesn't shoot anything, so he's definitely not going to be shooting far.
He can give you more cowbell if you request it, though. So at least Christopher Walken's happy, you know?
Yeah. Could have been more cowbell, to be honest, from Kellen in this early laning phase.
All right, well, they are not going to be able to get very much of this farm. You can see it's already 15-3. I'd say that that's 5 times more CS here for Gumayusi, who, as he comes on to the T1 roster here after a little bit of time off. He is gifted with a very good lane matchup. That is a great start to this one. See whether that continues.
Really struggling here as well.
In the meantime, Doran is also up in farm on the top side of the map. It's not expected that a Scion is going to be doing a whole bunch of work, as Vikla does get the cannon, but then he's going to have to go home, I think.
Yeah, Faker is trying to calculate if he has kill pressure here, and I think the answer is, with one more auto, he did.
Yeah, the zap not going to connect onto Diablo, but Diablo is not going to connect with the minion wave for quite some time. And so I could imagine that Raptor's presence is requested about everywhere on this map right now, and the Viego kind of just wants to be power farming at this point in time. He is going to be grabbing the top side scuttle, and Oner is looking for an angle here in mid lane. Remember, there is no teleport from Vikla, no Spirit Rush either. As Raptor in position, Charm has to be flashed. Big advantage actually from BNK on the back end of that play.
That is massive.
Whoa, massive. There's a flash pulverized as Gumayusi with a perfectly timed flash gets him out of the way. The zap positioning not great, but Diablo flashing forward, or at least ghosting forward, looking for an opportunity here against T1.
That flash from Guma may have just saved this whole
That was as
game.
late as you could possibly flash that.
It almost looked like Kellen messed it up. You know?
Yeah. Well, he's Hex flashing now. Headbutt Pulp comes in. The Ignite is going to be cleansed, and first blood goes to Diablo. Make that another 2v2 kill here for Kellen and Diablo in the bottom lane.
There are so many Zeri all-in angles you can have. And I think Guma thought, okay, I got out of the last one. I should be fine, but he forgot about the Hex Flash. And Kellen gets in just on the edge there, not able to headbutt him into a turret, but headbutt him, or knock him up so that, you know, Diablo could do that damage. That's all he needed to do there. Really nice setup from Kellen.
I have to say, Kellen is like a man reborn.
Yeah, he just really has been, especially in lane, out of control.
Yeah.
And the positioning here from Guma is somewhat greedy as he's trying to harass you know, his opposition out of lane. Diablo, though, Polymorph is not enough to stop that damage from coming through. And what was a great lane and a great lane matchup here for Guma feels a lot less great now.
These little ghoulies being quite annoying here. As remember, we were petitioning Riot to turn Dark Procession into Ghoulie Wall. This isn't the really cool skin for the Yorick, but I just really want it to be Ghoulie Wall, man. It is a Ghoulie Wall.
I was honestly a little bit sad yesterday when there was no mention of the donut. It's clearly just a donut. It's a Ghoulie donut. It's not my favorite flavor, but...
Yeah. Oh, a little bit of Bazinga onto Gumayusi there, who comes back licking his wounds here with a cull in his back pocket. BF sword there. I've seen this play before, ladies and gentlemen, and Gumayusi, nothing he can do about it. No cleanse, no flash, no chance, as Raptor turns into a Jinx and says, Keria, there's nothing you can do.
Oh man, Guma's first game back since the Gen G series. He is hard focused by Kellen, but this time he's got Raptor with him too. And I might have to stay off the internet for a while after this laning phases. Yeah, it's clear. Clear's having a bit of a rough time in the early laning phase, but that's to be expected. Down here, the 0-2 Cull Jinx into the BF Sword Diablo is not really what I had in mind, not really what I expected. As Hex Flash comes out, headbutts in, gets the knockup, and really nice fall comes through from Raptor.
And it's exactly the same play. He just made the same play again, and it worked beautifully, as it generally would if you now don't have as many resources to put into it on the side of T1. I don't necessarily know what Gumayusi was supposed to do, but maybe just not being there was the way out of it.
Having more knowledge about where Raptor was or where he could be, I think would have really been all you could have done, and try to be a little bit more safe there. As with no sums, I mean, what are you going to do? You've got no options there. And you can see why he held his flash the first time for so long. As once it's gone, Kellen is just on repeat with the attempted plays. Clear.
Now there's that Ghoulie Wall coming on in. A massive knock-up onto all of the Yorick things is pretty impressive. This is just not a really fun time. Thankfully, Clear has recently had a fair bit of experience into the Yorick, as it's kind of flavor of the month in solo queue for a lot of our pro players.
Guma gets to go topside here. They have Prio. If they could somehow interrupt Clear's back, it would be massive, but they won't be able to do so. Clear does not have teleport. Doran has a massive lead in terms of his rush to the bottom lane here, so nice little tempo gained by T1. to patch some of the bleeding up, or the holes that
Yeah.
are in this early game for them. Still a very close game in terms of gold, despite the 2 kills going over to BNK, and because of the laning advantages of the solo laners here for T1.
The thing that I'm worried about is that things weren't going great for BNK in the laning phase. Everyone was getting shoved in. There was a lot of control for T1. But the fact that Diablo and Kellen were able to outplay their way back into the game means not only great things for how that laning phase went, but also for just the vibes on the team, right? Like, this is a Zeri. You can just solo carry with this champion, and if Vikler and Raptor can just get behind that, could be just game over.
They're just going to look for an AD carry dive here. Like, Guma swap back. They're going to try to kill this Scion as Clear desperately tries to clear the wave. Now, Diablo's getting plate gold on the other side, by the way, so they need to make this work or it's going to come at a hefty cost.
Yeah, Raptor going to move over as he is spotted, knows that he's spotted. As the rest of T1 just waiting for this Viego to move in.
Another wave means I think they can go ahead and commit to this dive.
There is a cow down here as well as, oh dear, Roar the Slayer going to slow them down as meanwhile the fight continues. Doran gonna have to flash away. Is the flash out from Clear as well, but Doran in so much trouble. It's Raptor that goes down first though, and Doran will survive.
Okay, see if they can try to get more here. The wave was thinned out and completely cleared. Diablo ended up getting 3 plates, I believe, solo here on the top side as Kellen identified this early, roamed back over, or just backed and came down the bottom lane to try to bail Clear out. Didn't go as well as I think T1 were hoping for. They still end up getting a kill for this Jinx, but again, so much money went over to Diablo in the interim. He already has his Yuntals online here at 9.5 minutes as he returns to lane. So go back to this play. Kellen coming down here means that they can actually commit to try to be aggressive themselves. Unfortunately, Clear's not able to connect this. A nice flash from Keria does get him away. Doran goes incredibly low.
The third flash from T1 was Oner getting the kick flash onto the Viego, which was able to take them down,
Otherwise, you know, that's a dead Yorick, and Doran goes down, and it's a trade.
The thing that's not great for T1 is the fact that it's 3 flashes they had to invest into that play. Yes, they get the kill onto Raptor, but it's not worth it. Diablo was in that top lane, just destroying turrets. Like you said, finishes his first item, has a CS advantage, 500 gold lead. I think we're still on track for certification as far as this area is concerned. I know you're the expert there, so I'm not going to
get. I won't get too into the weeds on it yet. We're not there yet, but you know, it was a really cool call from T1. I was initially puzzled on the rotation over from Guma and Keria because they would have given up a ton of tempo. Doran didn't have teleport at the time. But they ended up turning it into something as Vikla looking for an angle over the traps.
Yeah, manages to get the charm in onto Keria, who is definitely going to be dead. But does Gumayusi go down as well? That's the question. The answer's no. As Raptor wanted to grab himself one. They are going to at least use the wild growth. But Keria, he knows that he's dead. And it's going to be Raptor that eventually locks that kill down.
Vikla just passed the traps there from Guma, gets in, hits the charm. They pivot targets onto Gumayusi, put him low, so now he's denied farm.
Diablo ghosted and used his ult at some point. I'm not entirely sure why, but that did happen.
Dueling Faker, it looks like, in the mid lane.
Yeah, perhaps. So Kellen going to be blocking a Super Mega Death Rocket. Did absolutely nothing. Was looking to try and steal away some grubs with that one. The first 3 did go to T1.
Yeah, BNK do end up getting another plate for Vikla. They're going to grab these grubs. As you mentioned, will be 3 for them to even it up.
Yeah.
And, you know, the plays we're seeing, the rotations we're seeing, the communication between the squad makes them honestly look like the more well-coordinated team today, which is somewhat understandable when you consider that the bottom lane here is swapped out, but it's a duo that has had tons of experience together. You know, Guma has obviously played with this roster for the last 3 years, going on 4 really when you add it fully up.
Yep, and he's won a couple of world championships, I think, relatively recently, if memory serves. Now Oner is just going to get headbutted out of the pit and just gets back in. Safeguards out, and that's what Lee Sin can do, ladies and gentlemen. The very comfy lockdown of the Dragon. It's a Cloud Soul to finish us off for this series. And the next one that does go down is going to result in feats of strength as well.
It's really significant that, because as you were saying, the feats of strength, if that was stolen and secured by Oner, because if it's not, then that's just it. BNK have feats of strength off of the Dragon and have a 2 Drake lead for Cloud Soul. So really important play there from Oner. utilizing that mobility. It's not going to change the fact that everything is a little bit on fire here across the map. It is going to be the Rod of Ages build here that Vikla is going for. And he's made already some really impactful plays in this game despite having a really tough laning phase into this Victor. Now he may be in danger.
Yeah, he has dealt with the wave though, so just going to back away. Oner is going to vacate the area as well and slink back into the Fog of War. He's got his top side to take down. Assuming a Death Rocket is not going to secure the red buff, but man, that was close.
Guma is known for stealing objectives with Jinx Rockets, with Varus Qs, and any manner of long-range abilities that he is wielding. But not this time around. Was a good block from Kellen you called out earlier too on the Grub attempted steal. And B&K just hovering around this top side, threatening a potential dive onto Faker. I think Faker knows he's totally fine. He's cleared the wave here. Now they're setting their eyes on mid, and it's just so uncomfortable for T1 right now. The threats are so high with this composition, and they're constantly making sure that even Keria rotating over to clear vision is not safe. It is a dangerous move. It is risky. And it's just so uncomfortable to play out. Clear has actually taken a pretty big gold lead here as well with the alone time he's had.
Yeah, Sunfire Cape now completed. Most of the plates being extricated from the top side of the map here by Vikla, who's now looking for a reset angle. And I think it's now time to talk about what these compositions are going to look like in fights later on in the game, because I don't think that T1 really want to find them. Yeah, because Yorick wants to spend his entire time in a side lane, and it makes this Jinx pick kind of awkward. As, speaking of side lanes, Doran is going to be in one. And it does put down the Ghoulie wall. There's the knock-up. Flash actually has to be invested here as Raptor still looking for it. He flashes forward, doesn't get the stun, but he gets into melee range, and the Maiden not going to be enough to save him. Down to the bottom side goes Diablo as well, as I just choke on myself.
I mean, you said slightly awkward. I think that situation at the bottom lane a little bit awkward for my man Doran. Nice ult from Clear. The wall is not enough to stop the onslaught, and unfortunately, you know, the rotation was just way faster for B&K. Unfortunately, if you're Doran, unfortunately, if you're a T1 fan, as they find themselves with another big deficit here in this early game as we crest 15 minutes. And this was the one lane you thought you couldn't mess up, the one matchup, the one advantage you had that felt robust regardless of what happens anywhere else. But it's a push and pull game of League of Legends where once a little bit of control is given over, Doran steps one, set of minions a little bit too far across the line, and he's a target.
Oh, this was cute actually from Oner. It looked like he was kind of baiting in there as Gumayusi Keria were waiting for Diablo, but not going to go and do too much. As T1 continuing to siege here in this mid lane. Yorick now positioned back down towards that bottom side, but it's an even bigger lead for Clear, who does have the steel caps as well.
Experience lead for Diablo over Guma as well, with the amount of solo time he spent in that top lane. He's about to be 2 levels up on this Jinx right now.
Oh, that's going to be level 2 ulti as well, as Safeguard just try and bait some buttons here from Oner.
He's like 1 minion away from that level 11. He wants it so bad.
Oh yeah.
He's like, does that ward give XP?
Well, it does, if he can see it. Unfortunately, he cannot.
And we'll get it off of this one. Yep. But the fight opportunity is now no longer there. But still, that was, I mean, imagine he hits that level 11, there's an engage. That could have been a certifiable moment right there.
I mean, it still could. There's a Rift Herald up and available in 45 seconds time. The Cloud Drake is going to be spawning. It's an honest game as far as Dragons are concerned, as far as the first two. And we'll see who's going to be able to get an advantage as far as that is concerned. Callan and Diablo now back in this mid lane, as is Gumayusi Keria, and things calm down.
Yeah.
2,000 gold the lead for B&K. Nothing to write home about. Completely even on grubs.
So you were talking about before Doran ended up getting caught, like what these team fights look like. I think for T1, like you said, they don't want to have one right now. But later on, they have a lot of angles as Doran is once again under fire.
Into the baby cage! Still gonna get knocked up by the Scion. Raptor is tanking this turret for way too long, but still able to go untargetable. Takes down the Yorick, and now Faker's teleported in. 0 mana, but the gravity field is too good, and the Chaos Storm is better! Oner comes down to protect, and they do go 1-for-1 in the trade.
Yeah, it's really clutch here coming through from Oner. Faker commits in as well with the TP. Barely has the mana to make the play happen. I mean, on its last vestiges.
Yeah.
And, he's able to then get in there and help clean up. and turn that into a positive. They do end up getting the kill onto the Viego. It goes over to Oner, unfortunately, but still small edges here. It's plays like this that T1 are so known for, as these, turning side lane pressure against them into a tool, into a weapon they can wield. Raptor transforming here. Clear has the aggro. Faker comes in, has the ult coming through, but barely has the mana for it. I mean, barely. And Oner comes in here and secures the kill. Vikla comes over to make sure Clear can get out. They wanted more out of the play, but it was a good rotation from Vikla. But it alone is not enough.
No, it's not really going to change the landscape too much. This might help.
We need time. I mean, T1 needs time before we're going to see this Jinx be a real threat in team fights. Faker needs time to hit that second item. He's going to do a ton more damage. Speaking of Faker.
Oh, nice sidestep there, as he does get the death ray in. Still, BNK looking for first turret in order to get themselves some feats of strength. They need one objective or that, as we've got Rift Herald up, we've got Dragon up, and it's a race to see which team can lock that one down. T1 still with a chance to get themselves feats of strength as well.
It's 2 items, Runins, Hurricane, online for Diablo. That is such a big spike. Gives him so much, power, so much damage in these fights.
Gravity field goes down. Faker creating some space here as the train leaves the station. Takes a fair bit of damage, and the Chaos Storm is going to interrupt the queue. Still Clear is doing a bunch of work, gets a nice knock-up, but he's bathing in chaos. And I don't know whether that's necessarily good for you. Raptor going to be starting this one off now, and we'll see whether T1 can stop Shelly from being claimed.
Scary fight here at this moment to fight into Diablo in this choke point on the Zarya. I think T1 definitely should just back away. Doran's going to get a turret on the other side of the map, and you can see Guma channeling that back, looking for his second item here. I think this was absolutely the right call. Doesn't quite have...
There we go.
Okay.
Thanks, Raptor.
Doesn't quite have the IE, but does pick up the BF sword. This Jinx is going to be terrifying if T1 can stem the bleeding and survive long enough to get to that point where just a single pick makes Guma the hyper carry here. They don't have a super robust front line, but they have obviously the wild growth. They have the redemption, and he can take over this game as he has many times on the Jinx in the past. But if he gets charmed, if he gets caught, if he gets hit by the Alistar, if he's caught by a flank from Clear, if he gets picked first, the team just falls apart.
Oh, Kellen has the headbutt back, and that's the charm delivery. The chain CC, gorgeous, as Raptor comes in.
That's mid-turret.
Yeah, and also they've got a Rift Herald, so Diablo will be able to finish this off. They get another charm on the inner turret, and BNK all of a sudden jumping out to a gigantic lead because Atakan's on the bottom side of the map. They've got a Drake down, Drake down there as well.
And Clear has teleport, so he can just join. Doran cannot. I think if they're able to identify that, they certainly start this up. There's the TP. I'm gonna say, Doran, you can have that turret. T1 already pushing for the mid turret. Yeah. But I mean, I think the Otacon is going to, in this case, be a more high value. Diablo's here.
Yeah, he's going to split them up as well as the ulti comes through. Diablo almost just dead by Faker. Headbutt Pulverize comes in. The knockup's down as well, but the wild growth is so good. Faker in melee range is not exactly where he wants to be.
And he's still doing this.
Is going to take him down.
He's still on this Otacon. I don't think he can do it alone, but man, he is holding. He was hoping they were going to win that fight a little bit faster. He's still going to hold the aggro here.
Yeah, Vikla turns up. And
yeah.
You saw Vikla was so animated in the player camps there as well because they know they're losing things on the other side of the map. That is outer turret and inner turret on the top side. But Otacon is claimed. They're able to take down Faker as well. BNK do get a few things back. Let's check out this play one more time.
Yeah, this is all about the catch on to Oner. As Kellen has so many friends nearby, you've got to respect that. You know? In this moment here, I think it's Oner just trying to push a cow out of his jungle that gets a little bit ahead of himself when there's so much follow-up. Diablo takes a ton of damage here. It looked initially like this was going to be a bad play here for BNK, but they just have so much follow-up CC, and as low as Diablo is, the damage he has means that T1 have to run away and they end up losing Faker there, losing the Otacon. Dragon is still up as Guma in danger.
Yeah, Kellen knows that he's not on vision, has Hex Flash up and available. Still, Diablo able to push forward, and Gumayusi not going to show himself, so no opportunity for the cow. Still, this inner turret in the mid lane going to be not long for the world, although these are two melee champions up against Faker, who does have a lot of range damage that they don't necessarily want to deal with, or do they? I think they're going to be able to take it.
I think looking back at it, it was absolutely the right call for T1 to try to push that mid turret, and say, look, they're going to hold the Otacon, we'll get away with this. They push the top turret, right? But the fact that BNK was able to, with Raptor alone, hold the Otacon keep it leashed as... Nice try. Yeah. But keep it leashed and still deal with the push in mid is just incredible. Like, the decision-making that has to go into that is a lot. And it's not something I thought going into today that BNK was capable of. As Faker...
Yeah, there's a Hex Splash. The immediate answer from Keria is good, but that's an ulti in trade for a Hex Splash. Or at least there is an ult coming out from Kellen as well. He's now looking to try and make something of it. As Diablo doing some work, Headbutt Pulverize gets the cow in there. Another knockup as Doran is going to get thrown back. And there's the first kill for the reset composition. BNK not going to be able to find too much more, but taking down Doran after getting the flash is huge. And even Vikla able to push Oner out of here. This BNK is just firing on every cylinder.
And I think there's certainly a vibe around the team that I think after game one, everyone trusts each other. Everyone knows that this is a big upset win that they absolutely can pull off. And they're making these high-risk but extremely successful plays over and over and over again. And when you have Otacon buff as well on top of this, you can just force. You're at very little risk here to actually try to make something like this happen. And even with the donut, Doran is just not going to be able to get out. He's not very mobile. And Guma is still just so far behind in this game. It's so hard for him to layer damage, and it's so hard for him to be relevant without a first pick. And BNK, once again, just like game two and for a majority of game one, once they have a lead, they are so oppressive with it. And this composition is one of the more oppressive ones you could have. They have feats of strength. Vikla's got his tier 3 boots online as well in this game. And this is the experience Lee I talked about earlier. It's even worse than it was then. Now 3 levels up on Guma.
Yeah.
For a brief period of time here.
This is absolutely insane. Diablo 103, it's not necessarily an insanity performance, but that's 3 items. We know this is a breaking point for Zeri. And I don't know how T1 are supposed to do this without some crazy theatrics from both the Jinx and the Victor, or some severe stalling out of the game.
Yeah. I mean,
if they do that, it might help, but my problem is I look at the comps, right? And in a 5v5, the Sion is going to do so much more than this Yorick.
I mean, also Cloud Soul is just so incredibly good for BNK's composition.
Oh,
and
true.
if they end up getting both of those, sure, it'll be 10 more minutes of game time at least for both dragons being taken. But I think T1 need to get at least one of those. If Cloud Soul goes over, like, name a champion here that isn't going to love it. It's rough for T1. And T1... Again, they have the tools. It's just the lack of control. I mean, Doran can push up like this because they know where everybody is, but when they're not sure, there's just no way you can actually threaten. And as soon as everyone starts missing and moving towards back towards the Baron, you know, T1 have to rotate over. They have no vision. They have no eyes here whatsoever. That trinket is deleted, and now they're fighting completely blind.
Yep, Quadra teleports on the map, but there's no anything to teleport to. As Kellen's going to come on over, he finds Oner, the headbutt brings him out, but it's Gumayusi that's the target, and they come in from every angle. Faker teleports into his death, and now T1 are scattering. They have nowhere to go. The charm lands from Vikla. Oner's trying to safeguard his way out, but it's more like Dangerous Guard in this game as BNK leave only the blind man alive and look to beat T1 in their second match of week 3.
Like the blind man, they had no vision. They couldn't see anything, and it's the Zeri Ahri engage onto the Jinx that they just didn't see coming. Guma felt like he was far enough away they could be doing Baron. They could be anywhere. You just don't know. But you've got to come over and contest for Prio. Guma's the one who's picked. Watch this again. Bigla has a control ward, so he knows he's not spotted. Keria knows there's a chance, and when they see Kellen, they know, but it's just too late. Wild Growth alone is not enough to save the Jinx, and this teleport from Faker was desperation, but it did not put him where he wanted to go, and now with no damage, it is just a fun house here for Diablo and for Vikla to clean up, and that goes straight to Baron and take it in live. This game is all but over. We're looking at an 8,000 gold lead here, and I just don't see any way T1 get back in it.
Yeah, this is 12-2. This kill score is absolutely absurd. I mean, we saw a couple of days ago the Gen G basic perfect game, so as far as shellackings are concerned, it's nowhere near our biggest of the week, but it's getting there. It's an 8,000 gold lead here for BNK.
It definitely feels like top 2 right now, I would say.
And look, that will require BNK closing this game out. They were formerly the worst team at closing out games that we have seen, but that is not the BNK that we've seen this year. As Raptor slinking in, looking for a few angles. Doesn't get it.
Faker
testing the waters.
He has no defensive items. I mean, he's got Merc Treads, I'll give you that, but he's got to play so carefully here, trying to clear this wave, unsuccessful at defending the inhibitor.
And it all has to be 4v5 because the only thing Doran can do is split push.
Yeah, he can't fight. And Vikla is just going to take this turret out. BNK, once again, just like Game 2, playing it slow. Not willing to give T1 the opportunity to get back into this game, to find an angle to engage.
Well, we're going to move Doran in. Does have that home guard as he's booking it towards the rest of his team. Faker going to get engaged on, but no charm going to land. That's a great interruption once again. Every wild growth has been great here from Keria. Just hasn't been enough. The Maiden going to be taking out more money over to BNK. Another charm is going to go wide as the Scion also goes wide. Has to flash away. Kick into the Flame Chompers is kind of cute as Kellen gets a headbutt. But T1, yes, they're beating them around and Clear will go down. But it's been trade immediately. Both top laners and Diablo loves this kind of craziness. As the Orbit Deception comes in and now BNK with some free time. That charm going to land as Oner goes down. And BNK, I think they've done it. The Nexus is exposed and Diablo keeping them on the fountain. And will be able to take down the Nexus.